Today's guest is Troy Osterberg. Troy is an actor and a cool dude, and he's here to talk about dating, relationships, and answer some of your questions. Troy, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Great to have you.
Cool dude is a bold statement when you say.
I mean, I've known you for like 15 minutes, and I think it fits so far. So we'll see if it holds true.
That's the vibe y'all see at the end. They're like, fuck this guy.
All right, so question for you. I'm going to speak on behalf of all guys here.
Okay.
So you've said on record that an ideal date for you, cruising down the PCH, windows down.
Oh, God. You did your research.
Music on.
You did your research.
He always does.
Headed towards Malibu, right? You pull up at an Airstreamer.
Oh, God.
Sunset, open a bottle of wine, right? So that's a date.
Okay.
So I'm going to say, first of all, on behalf of all guys, fuck you for setting the bar so high. And second of all, where do you go from there if that's a first date?
If that's a first date.
Where the hell do you go from there? Like, how do you...
You know what? I really didn't think about that. Where do you go from there?
You take the jet somewhere.
Yeah, obviously. You say, Dad, I need the private to fly to Bora Bora. I think that's like all you can do.
Yeah, you're fucked after that.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, I'm taking girls to Barney's Beanery and like...
Dude, but Barney's Beanery is such a good time.
It is, but
It is.
I can't compete with that Airstreamer.
What was the context behind the story behind the date? Like, where was that scene?
It was
Malibu.
It was Malibu, and it was with, she was like a top tier girl.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Possible wife material?
Yeah, like I really liked her. Listen, I'm not doing that for like every girl. It's like very specific people that I'm like, okay, I see like a potential. I don't want to say future because like I'm still young and figuring it out.
You want to keep them around for a little bit.
Yeah.
See where it
Someone
goes.
that like I genuinely enjoy their company. That's probably like that's something I will do. I'll go like above and beyond. But yeah, she was like in the scene, and I felt just the need to like kind of go a little bit, more than your classic dinner bottle of wine. I'm a huge advocate for wine. I like drinks at dinner solely because it just like brings everyone's like wall down a little bit, and you can kind of have like a free flowing conversation. That does backfire sometimes when the girls are like, oh, I don't drink, or I'm 2 years sober, which is awesome and good for them. But then sometimes you're just kind of like stuck, and not saying I don't have good conversation. Like I feel like going on dates is like pretty easy. Some people like know how to talk, some not so much, but
Sure.
I don't know. To answer your question, where do I go from there? I don't know. I like going to a baseball game. I think that's fun. But you don't show up till like the 4th or 5th inning. So you're not sitting there for like however many long hours, and like bore them to death.
Do you stay to the end though? Is that a...
You have to.
Okay.
Unless it's like a blowout, but like even if it's a blowout, I'm still watching the full 9 yards.
I will say Dodger Stadium is brutal to get out of the parking lot.
I go to Angels Stadium.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I've never been to
Okay.
Dodgers.
Well, you're an
I've
OC
been to
guy, right?
Angels.
I am an OC game. You've been to Angels, right?
Yeah.
Okay. When you go to Dodger Stadium, you'll understand the difference. I feel like Angels is just a little bit cleaner,
Less likely to
classier.
get stabbed.
Yeah. I didn't want to say that, but like, yeah, basically. It's not as like dirty.
But it is a nightmare to get. Going to a Dodgers game at sunset is beautiful. Like it's so
it's great.
sick. Just looking up, seeing like the backdrop of California. It just feels. You just feel like you're
going to the
living
Angels
the
game
life.
felt like not going to the Yankees game. Like going to the Yankees game, it's a big
Completely
ordeal,
different experience.
right? Like everybody's mobbing to get in. Like you just got a ticket, so you're so happy.
Yeah.
When I went to the Angels game, we were like tailgating for a couple hours, and the game started, and there was no line, and we just like walked in, and it was like, oh, it's so cool and chill. It's
No security.
Yeah. It's like just go to your seat.
Well,
wherever you
people
want.
like show up in Orange County to an Angels game with like jersey, shorts, and flip flops. Like Yankees, it's like get your fucking hot dogs in.
Yeah.
Like I got off the subway. I went last week. I went to the Yankees versus Red Sox.
Nice.
Great game, by the way. But like people are screaming for absolutely no reason. I watched the roll call thing.
Oh, that's fun.
Which was really sick. That's why I got this hat there, because I was like, dude, I gotta blend in with the people. Otherwise, I'm probably gonna get yelled at by somebody.
You have to.
But dude, just the experience from Yankees game to Angels is night and day.
Yeah, I think like 10 blocks away, it's a Yankees game, right? There's traffic and there's people
sure.
with the parking.
Sure.
The Angels game, I like drove up to the stadium and I was like, is there a game tonight? But everyone was there and the stadium was great.
That's so funny. Yeah, it's a little bit more chill than other sports, but that's just Orange County in general.
Feel you.
Yeah.
So I've also heard you say that you don't go on a lot of dates. Is that still true? Because I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think you said that. Because I'm someone that doesn't go on a lot of dates
Okay.
also, unless, and I think you may have also added unless you know the person first
Sure.
or kind of know what they're about. Is that
They really did their research, by the way. Like you
We
guys,
got a guy.
You
We got a
guys
guy.
acted like you had no idea like what's going on. They're like, yeah, I think you had like some podcast come out, and they're like, so you went to Malibu and brought that girl out. Yeah, I don't know. Like you have to be really worth the time to go out on a date, you know, versus like texting back and forth for a week or two and then kind of just off on to the next, you know. That's just what a lot of like LA is, especially if you're like on dating apps and stuff. It's like it's just an ego boost. So it's like you match with someone, you go back and forth, and then you make a plan, it never goes through, and then you're on to the next, you know.
Yeah, and I think like I was saying before, when we get podcast guests, usually we'll like just get a guest for the podcast, and they're very different.
Sure.
But you specifically, you were so on brand for us because I think Kat from our team found one of your posts talking about how to actually date, right? And I think
Sure.
coming from a guy that's kind of giving off the same message as us, I was like,
Sure.
oh my God, this is perfect. Because I think in that video you were saying, you know, like, why are you wasting time chatting? Like, if you actually like
Sure.
somebody, just, you kind of went through every step of our app,
Sure.
not knowing what our app was. And I was
Sure,
like,
sure.
this guy's perfect.
That's it.
yeah, that was
I love
almost
that.
scripted. That
yeah,
that-
I was like, did
Really?
he
Yeah.
know that?
it
You
sounded
should
like
just-
an ad for us.
You should just taken it and thrown it on your website.
we may.
Good. And then I'll have my lawyers come sue your ass. No, go for it. Yeah. You know what's just difficult is the past couple of months, I found a lot of people just don't want to go on dates. A lot of people just have like that social anxiety where they're too afraid of going out and meeting new people. Like the amount of times I'd say, even like the past month, I'd say I've invited maybe like 6 girls out, just like proper date, just like, hey, what are you doing? It's probably a Monday. What are you doing Thursday, Friday? Let's go to dinner. I'll set it all up. And they're like, yeah, sounds good. And day of the date just goes ghost.
If they're turning you down, there's no hope for us.
No, dude,
Yeah.
stop. But it's just like, it's just crazy. It blows my mind. And then you see like these TikToks of girls being like, oh, there's no good guys in LA. Like you can't date in LA. And it's just like, well, one, you're looking in the completely wrong places in Los Angeles. And two, it's like half the time you guys don't even fucking pull through in the first place. So that's where I really have to like text you back and forth, vibe with you, FaceTime a couple times. And then if you're worth the time, then it's like, all right, cool, let me set it up and put in, you know, because I'm not like, hey, let's go for drinks, get fucked up, and then just figure it out. Like I'm a very like, pick you up at this time. I have like this certain song playing when I pick you up. I'm very like detail oriented.
I like that.
When I go on my dates. So it's
You're
like
like Dexter Morgan.
that's so bad
Minus
to
the
say.
killing.
Yeah, minus the killing. Even though some girls love that shit, you know, but I'm just like, I'm very detail oriented and I make sure like everything's going according to plan, but then I'll play it off like it's so just nonchalant and like it just kind of flows.
But I
Does that make
think
sense?
women appreciate that because it shows that you care, and it might not show how much you care,
Sure.
but it shows, okay, at least this guy put some effort in and cares somewhat about this date, which I think, you know, goes a long way if the date
Sure.
goes well.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah. But it's getting that person out on that date, you know, in order for them to kind of understand what you went through to kind of.
Yeah, and I think what you said, I think a lot of people think, but they feel that they're the only ones that think that way in the sense that first dates, people have so much pressure on it, right? Both
Sure.
internally, the expectation of the other person.
Yeah.
And I think like if people just went into a first date, and we always say this, without any expectation, just
Yeah.
like treating it as a casual time and seeing
Sure.
where it goes,
Yeah.
I think they would go a lot better.
Yeah.
But I think both people on the date put so much pressure on it, and women, I guess, have anxiety more so in these situations. And like
Both parties do, but yes.
but they're just
yes.
like, both parties
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
let me just back out and I essentially ghost.
Sure, yeah, which is a shame, but
Well,
yeah.
there is a reason I actually asked that question in the first place was because I'm someone who historically hasn't used a lot of dating apps. Like
Sure.
I used them when I was like 24, 25 when they first came out. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, like, obviously I got to check them out.
Yeah.
But in the past like 6 or 7 years, nothing. Right.
Okay, yeah.
Even now, like I love First Rounds on Me, and I love the concept, but I don't really use it because I don't want to mix like my work and
Totally.
pleasure. So I'm trying to be responsible.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe a practical takeaway for some people listening, some guys especially, like
Mm-hmm.
how do you meet people outside of dating apps?
Dude, I always tell people just go to a fucking coffee shop. It's like so easy. It's like everyone's like, where do you find a good guy? Just don't go to the club.
Yeah.
Like it's pretty simple.
Yeah, that's a big one.
You know?
Be intentional about where you go.
Totally.
But also like, I think you have to go out and kind of have, so for me, I usually talk to like everybody, right? Like for example, my day when I walk to the gym,
Love that.
I pass the Holloway Soho House. I talk to all the I don't like say, hey, like I don't have like a 10-minute conversation.
No, totally.
Say hello to them.
Yeah.
You know, how you doing? Maybe there's a quick chat.
Yeah.
Then even like homeless people, like I chat out to homeless people.
Yeah. That's cool.
Then like the hotel people up, whatever, Alta Loma. So I'm in a zone of like already talking to people.
Totally.
Get to the gym, talk to the front desk people. So it's like if there's someone I'm interested in, not just at the gym, but anywhere, like I'm warmed up. It's not a big deal that I'm talking to them. Like, it's not like I've been silent for 4 hours and I have to run up to this person.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good tip is like, be friendly and just make that part of your personality.
That's so sick. I literally just dropped, that's literally like my podcast was about today, was just like shooting your shot. And my biggest takeaway was just practice like Ronaldo. Like in practice, he's passing, he's shooting, all that so like when it comes game time, he's already done it a billion times. So it's like, go out, talk to people, talk to the barista, talk to the girl in line. Even if you're not like attracted to that person, just like chat them up so that you're like comfortable with like talking to females.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and if you open it up with just like casual conversation, like you guys are saying,
Totally.
you'll know as it goes on. Like, okay, like they're asking me questions now. This is going well.
Totally.
Maybe I could ask like a deeper question.
Sure.
But if not, there's no pressure. It's just like, okay, like I said hello, like thanks for the coffee, and she was like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, like the same thing, like approaching a woman is the same as like a date in terms of like don't go in with an expectation of like trying to get something from it, right? Just it maybe expectation is like having fun or enjoying it. Yeah. But like yesterday, I was walking home from the gym, and there was a girl at the crosswalk that I recognized from the gym. Never spoke to her before, but we were essentially wearing like the same exact outfit.
Funny.
I started to think now, I'm like, was I dressing like a chick? Because I think I kind of was. Wearing like leggings and like small shorts. But I saw her there, and she had her headphones in, and I was like, I could not say anything, or I can ask her if she dressed like me on purpose. Yeah. So I said, hey, am I dressed like you or are you dressed like me? Right. And then we had like a 3-minute conversation while we were waiting at the crosswalk and across the street. And nothing came from it, but like, you know, just an opportunity to just like have a nice conversation with somebody. And I think that's a good way to approach like living life. But if you're never used to talking to anybody and you go to a coffee shop, you may sit there in silence because it's like, I don't know what to do now. Like, are they going to start flocking to me or what? It's like, no, you got to like.
You're not warmed up. It's like going on stage and trying to sing. It's like if you didn't warm up beforehand, it's kind of hard to like hit that fucking high note, you know, versus like warming up in the bathroom before.
Yeah.
So
and like, what's the worst thing that happens? Right?
That's what I'm saying.
Like, seriously.
What is the worst thing that can happen?
Like, in that situation, right? You could have said whatever you said to that girl, right? And you guys could have clicked, went on a date, and like, who knows what could have happened. Or she was nice, enjoyed the encounter, nothing happened. And like,
we could have got hit by cars, but
that's true.
So low risk, high reward. And I think that's everything in life, especially like talking to people. I like
that. Low risk, high reward.
But it is. It's like, there's nothing bad that could happen. Maybe like your dignity gets hit a little bit. But as you get older, it's like,
but what is
that?
It's like your ego, you know, like that's all it is.
But that's also the importance of like not hitting on someone, right? With a stupid pickup line. It's like just open the conversation like a normal person as opposed to like making it this like I'm hitting on this person, right?
Dude, that's literally what I said. That's like my whole thing I was preaching today.
I was talking about the Ronaldo thing last episode.
Exactly. No. It's so funny. Yeah. As long as you just like make it a normal conversation, that's all like flirting is. It's like, hey, what's good here? You know, and they're like, oh, I always get the vanilla latte with 2 pumps of this. And you're like, and then you could just be like, ew.
Yeah.
And they're like, what do you mean ill? And then now you're having like a normal conversation, you know, versus like, hey, did you just fart because you blew me away? Instantly, you're like, dude, what the fuck is wrong with this guy? And then yeah.
And I think it throws women off. Like the more normal you are, it throws them off in a good way where it's like, why is this guy normal? I kind of like it.
Yeah.
Is there something wrong with him? It's like, nah, I'm just normal.
keep a little mystery involved.
Yeah. I mean, I love how you twist the athletes into kind of the approach because I listened to your You can't make everybody happy podcast.
Yeah.
And you were talking about LeBron James.
Yeah.
And it really hit with me because I love sports, but obviously I love dating as well.
Yeah.
And yeah, just essentially not taking anything personal.
Yeah.
And you were saying how LeBron James should think he's the best athlete of all time, right?
Sure, yeah.
And I think anytime you approach a woman or a man, in your head, you should have the mentality like, oh, I'm going to at least talk to this person. It's going to go great, right?
Yeah.
And I think setting yourself up with that initial expectation is only going to help you. And if you go into the situation saying, this is going to go terrible, it's probably going to go terrible.
I mean, you are what you think, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's funny. I played sports growing up, so that was like my thing. So I always like somehow find a way to like tie in sports to like any part of life, I guess. But yeah, it's just like, if you go in thinking like, oh, I'm the shit, then like, that doesn't necessarily mean that other people are going to perceive you as being like the shit, you know? But like, if you feel that way, I feel like you're already like one step ahead going into a conversation, if it's with a chick or playing on the basketball court.
And I fully relate, because sometimes I think this way and I'm like, shoot, is something wrong with me? Because I don't want to say that if I come off the wrong way.
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah.
the fact that you said, I was like, okay, this guy clearly aligns with the way I think. And it's funny because I'm married.
Yeah.
But the other day, Hannah was like, well, where would you be if you never met me? And I was like, I'd probably be with Taylor Swift. And she started laughing. And I was like, no, I'm serious. And she's like, I can't believe that you have this crazy confidence that you actually think that you'd be with Taylor Swift.
That's hilarious.
And I was like, I'm kind of joking, but I actually believe these things, because maybe someone said that you were a far reach for me, but since I believe that, I actually got you. So if I didn't,
isn't that just like, that's like manifestation in itself?
And it's funny because like 10 years ago, I'd be like, manifestation's stupid.
Yeah, yeah.
But like, if you actually understand not the definition of manifestation, but like the way that you view yourself, I believe that like the more you put yourself towards something, it's the odds are better.
Totally.
It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. Yeah, if you just like devote like everything to it, like there's some good that's got to come out of it, huh?
Right.
You know, maybe if you don't get like Taylor Swift, maybe you get like who's someone else below that. I don't even know.
Anyone below that. I think she's at the pinnacle when it comes to singing.
Yeah, yeah. If you get another like superstar, then like, you know, you're already like 1,000 steps ahead of everyone else.
Yeah. So,
but it's Taylor Swift. We're just shooting for the stars. Taylor
that's
Swift.
what I said.
Even though we love
Taylor
Hannah.
Swift.
Yeah. Sorry, Hannah. We love you.
There's a great story I heard a couple times from various people on social media, but it's basically how George Clooney, right, when he was a young actor and struggling, he had, you know, in his mind, every time he went into an audition, it was like, all right, I have to like impress these people. They're gonna hire me. They're gonna solve my problems financially, career wise. Yeah. And then apparently, according to the story, and one day he kind of flipped his mindset where he's like, no, I'm the answer to their problems. I'm the solution to their problems.
Totally.
So he went into the interview the audition much more relaxed and chill. And it's one of those things where like that mindset shift really helped him, you know, take his kind of his entire way he went about things to a different level, and it's what allowed him to like loosen up and really start getting jobs and start booking jobs. So I think is a very similar thing in dating, right? Which is funny that we're like, you have to go in and be chill and not, but we have all these little tips and stories. So it's like you have to learn them and then have them in your mind, you know, unconsciously type of thing. But yeah, having a different mindset shift where it's like, oh, this woman's gonna like make me happy and solve my problems. It's like, no, like you don't even have to think this way, but think the other way where it's like, no, I'm gonna make her day. Right, I'm going to make her laugh, and that could help you kind of be less nervous and be more relaxed and not have any expectation on what you're going to get from her.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like when you come into just a conversation, or even like, we'll start with just a conversation. When you come in with like a need or like, you just kind of make yourself like too. What's the word? It's you're just desperate, and I feel like a lot of women could like smell that.
Oh
on
yeah,
you know, if you're coming in, guys are like drooling over you, like they get it all the time. Oh, you're so pretty, you're so hot, like, you know, you probably get this all the time, versus the guy who's just like, wow, you really chose to wear that today. Like that's gonna stick with her all day. Not saying like go out and like demean some chick, but like just be like a normal dude, and just, as I always use the coffee shop analogy, where just, hey, what's good here, you know, and then it just starts a conversation. Versus I'm sure you get this all the time, but you are just so pretty, I had to get up here and come talk to you. And then instantly it's like the girl's like, ew, thirsty. Like, check off the bucket list. I can get him, not the bucket list, but check off the list. I can get him onto the next guy, you know? Yeah. Versus the guy who's just a lot more like chill, calm, and not like drooling over her and, you know, kissing her feet.
And I think it raises the like alarm. If you use the pickup line in their mind, and I would feel the same way, I'd be like, okay, you probably use this every day on every girl. Like, just stop. But like you said, with the coffee shop thing, it creates that intrigue where it's like, is he picking up? Is he
hitting on me?
Or is he really curious about the coffee? Yeah. I'm kind of intrigued.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of people just like overlook just the power that like the word hi has.
I would always say that. Like people would ask me, what was your best pickup line? And I would say, I would literally see a girl in a bar that I thought was attractive and be like, hi, can I buy you a drink? And like maybe the drink part needed to evolve. Yeah. Just like, hi, like I'm Joe, like what's your name? Yeah. And they could say like nothing, and I'm like, okay, not into me. Or they'd be like, hi, I'm Amanda. I'm like, okay, nice to meet you. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. That's one of the best scenes in 40-Year-Old Virgin. And it's one of the most truest ones is when they're just ask questions, and he's saying ridiculous questions, but it's like it's not that asking questions works. It's that like women just want to be like talked to and be they don't have to have their guard up. They are having fun. You're being playful. Like you're making them like just enjoy the moment, right? So it doesn't even matter half the time what you say. It's right how you say it. It's the vibe. If you're making, if you're kind of acting loose and goofy and carefree, that's more important than what you say. There's no lines that are gonna work.
It's all your tone.
Yeah,
you could be literally talking about cow tipping, and it's just a fun conversation. And they're just like, "What the hell is this guy talking about?" But I'm so into it because it's like just you don't get that every day.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's just that's funny.
So I wanted to ask you something because again, I watched the You Can't Make Everybody Happy. Is that what the full name of
I try to figure out another title, but
so I watched it and I really loved it.
Okay.
But one thing you said in there was that your mom's friends started watching and
that's
talking
funny.
about your podcast.
Yeah.
And I again related because it's like you said some of them said, "Oh, it's very cringeworthy," right?
Sure.
And I actually put a post up today, kind of like the new modern day man, right?
Yeah.
And kind of just the messaging of like what our parents would have seen, right? Like what we're doing and like how we talk about all this stuff pretty openly.
Sure.
And like how we see the world, right? And I wanted to ask you, like, how do you deal with the older generation, your parents as well? Like saying like, "Hey, Troy, like, what are you doing?"
Yeah.
Versus like your messaging on how you want to be perceived as a man in like 2023.
Huh. Interesting. To clarify, it wasn't necessarily my mom's friends being like, "Oh, this is cringe." It was more like, they were more like, "He's only 28 years old. Like, what the fuck does he know about dating?" Because they're all like 40, 50-year-old moms that have been in relationships for like 20 plus years. So obviously like, I guess like being in this whole like industry, you get a ton of criticism, but like you got to be able to take that if you're going to take the good too. The people that like quote unquote praise you or like idolize you, and then people that don't necessarily. I don't know. That's a really good question.
Yeah, well, I asked because like, I grew up very much in like a masculine home. I have 3 brothers. Like we didn't have any sisters in the home. So like I grew up with like, man is just like this aggressive, like blue collar guy.
Yeah.
And I never felt that way. But then as I got older, I got more in touch with like my emotional intelligence and like, empathy.
Yeah.
So today I put up a post like the 8 things that I think a modern day man has, and they were all like non-physical traits. And someone commented and said like, "Well, a man should be a protector," and I was like, "Yeah, he should be that too." But
I feel like that goes without saying.
and I was like, but we've just like seen that a modern day man's more evolved or should be more evolved.
Sure.
So I was just wondering your take on
modern days,
the evolution and like how you approach yourself, right? Like what traits you think.
I don't know. Just besides like the regular, I don't really understand the question.
I think, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think what he's asking is how do you balance kind of that emotional, vulnerable side with maybe a more traditional definition of like masculinity type of thing, and in what you do and the work that you do and the content that you put out. Like, do you find it like tough or?
I just don't really like look into it all that much. I guess I just like I'm just fucking me. Like, and
I love that.
I have a lot of people. Like I have so many people on the internet think I'm gay. So many people. And
that's kind of what I mean, right? Like just you being you. I think that was like the answer, not that I was looking for, but like it was aligned to what I was kind of asking, right? Where it's like growing up, I thought I had to be like masculine and like that was a man, right? And I was like, I don't really feel comfortable doing that.
Yeah.
I feel more comfortable just kind of being both, right? Like physically masculine, but also like emotionally.
Yeah.
So I think you saying just being you when people think you're gay and you're like, no, I'm not. I'm just
which is tough because it's like you're just be you. Everyone's like, okay, well then who the fuck am I?
Right.
It's like a tough thing to hear, I guess. And like what makes it harder is like nobody but yourself can tell you who you are. So for me, it's like I'm just that kid who likes to look good, make sure like I'm very like clean cut, like well shaven, takes care of my nails, and like smells good 24/7. And if that makes me apparently gay to the world, then like so be it. Like that's like who I fucking am. I'm not, but like if that's what you want to think, that's on you. Like sorry you feel that way, but I'm just like clean cut, classy like kid.
And that confidence, I'm sure, is attractive not only to women but to like people who view you, right? Like, well, this guy doesn't give a shit about the way I think. Like,
but that comes with just time and being in it. Because like, there's definitely been times where I'm like sitting there just like, dude, what the fuck? Like, I can't do anything without someone thinking like this about me or that about me, which is kind of why like made that podcast being like, you can't make everyone happy.
Yeah.
So the sooner you realize, you know, you can't make A, B, and C all happy. Like I literally said, Justin Bieber is like one of the most popular, influential people in the world. That guy can never in a million years make every single person in this world happy. Like
Even Jesus Christ.
Yeah, exactly.
do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't make everyone happy. And the sooner you realize that, the more I think happiness and like joy, fulfillment you'll feel in your life.
But I think one thing you said earlier that is a masculine trait is how you go about like planning dates, right? It's very, you're leading, right? You're showing intention. Like that's a form of masculinity and masculine energy, I think, is, you know, being intentional, being a leader, having a woman kind of like follow your lead. So I think that's one way that you're doing it for sure.
Totally. I just think there's so many different ways that you can be quote unquote masculine and like that leader other than like having to fight and like
that's
be
kind of like
grungy
the
and musty
long-winded
and
question I was trying to ask you.
yeah, sorry. So I guess like now I'm kind of getting the question, but yeah, I don't know. Everyone's got their own thing. Everyone's got their own style. But like to me, I'm just not that. I don't want to be, you know, working out 24. I don't need to be like jacked. I work out. I don't need to be like fucking huge and be like, hey, get off my woman and like trying to fight everyone in the bar for like someone like accidentally running into some chick I'm saying. I'd be like, hey man, like if it was intentional, I'd be like, hey man, like what the fuck, you know? But like I'm not gonna. One guy looks at my chick wrong, and I'm like, yo, dude, you try to take this outside. Like I just think I think it's a waste of time.
Yeah,
I think it's silly.
100%. And I think the more you back off and play it cool, again, the more confident it looks to everybody. Where it's like, you know, again, if someone did something egregious, it's like, okay, I'm gonna say something. But yeah, if someone's talking to your girl, it's like, yeah, you can talk, but
totally,
you know, I'm over here. She's gonna be with me. Like,
I always preach. Like I always say, like I love when, and I don't have a chick, but I love when we go to a bar and like there's a girl I'm talking to, or you know maybe sing for a little bit, and some guy comes up and is like trying to hit on her. I'll never be the type to like go up and try to like intervene, because like I know where I stand with her, and hopefully she stands the same way. It's flattering. It's more like, to me, it's like, yeah, she's hot, and that's kind of like why I'm talking to her, why I'm with her. It's like, eat your heart out, and then before you know it, she turns around, she comes over, and I like, put her around my arm, we walk off somewhere, and the guy's like, fuck. You know, then he seems like an idiot versus like me going up and be like, hey man, what the fuck? Bam. You know, it just doesn't make any sense. But
I think the reverse is attractive too, right? Like if a girl approaches you, you don't have to feel the pressure of, okay, like I know I'm with this girl, I have to like back off and not just be nice. Or you could just talk to them, and then your girl's like, yeah, you could talk to her, I don't care. Like I know how you feel about me.
Yeah.
I
I feel like it takes a very like secure man and woman to do something like that. But I guess that's part of like the seeking out process for me, is like I got to make sure like you're very like level-headed and kind of like meet where I meet, so that we're both on the same page.
Now, are you looking for somebody?
I always say, like, you know, if the right one comes around, like if you know, you know, you know. With that being said, I haven't had like one person really like spark my interest and maybe like, wow, I'm crazy about that person right now, you know?
Steve kind of says the same things.
Yeah, can I just live in my life, and if I meet somebody, and we'll see what happens. We'll take it from there.
You're putting no pressure on it.
Yeah. And to kind of close that loop, there's a great, I don't know if you guys saw Matthew McConaughey clip going around right now. He was on Lex Friedman's podcast, and he talks about how like if he sees his wife, right, for example, on the other side of the room at a party talking to some guy and laughing, he's like, you have to be happy for her, and you know, be happy that she's having a great life experience and happy and laughing, but it doesn't involve you. Right? He's like, jealousy always comes up, but no matter what happens, like if your wife or husband or partner, whatever you want to call it, is having a great time, it's like good for them. Like I'm so happy that they're having a great time, even though it has nothing to do with me. I think that's what you're talking about, like being super secure, where it's like I know that she's, you know, my wife and she loves me, and but I'm so happy that she's having a great life experience right now. Totally. And he said it much more eloquently with a lot of other examples, but like it's such a great way to think, where it's like you need to be genuinely happy for your partner, no matter what, even if you're not the one that's causing the happiness.
That's
so
cool.
I think it's really cool.
That's cool. I feel like, and also I'm just gonna backtrack. I'm not saying like I'm 100% like there's no jealousy at all going on. Like I feel like everyone kind of feels that, but I like that if you acknowledge like, okay, I'm feeling like this way, you know, that's kind of like you're one step ahead of the game, and kind of like understand, okay, this is just a feeling. It'll pass. You know, it doesn't mean, you know, she's going to go off and sleep with that guy for making her laugh or whatever it is. It's probably different having a partner too, because it's like, okay, like makes me feel a little way, but I don't know. I guess it's like maturing and kind of just
It is,
realizing.
exactly.
Yeah,
you know?
it's self-awareness too,
Yeah.
right? Like, again, like we were out in New York one night and we were playing pool. I was on the other side of the pool table and Hannah was by the bathroom and this guy was chatting her up and I was just like, you know, inside, I didn't feel too much jealousy, but I was like, you know, it was going on for a while and I was like, okay, this guy needs to walk away. But I internally was like, well, I'm definitely not going to do anything because the right thing to do is to just let it be because I know how she's handling it. Like, I know what she's saying to the guy.
Totally.
So I was like what you said, like, of course there's that little bit of jealousy,
Yeah.
but my self-awareness and self-growth is like, just let it be.
Totally.
Yeah.
And like, will we ever not feel that jealousy? I don't know. Maybe when you're like 16, 17, you're probably like, yeah, fucking take her, bro, please. You know, like get her out of my sight. But that's a joke. But yeah, I don't know. I think that's healthy because it lets you know. And again, I'm 28. Like, what the fuck do I know?
I think McConaughey
You know?
said though too. Like he still gets, you still feel a little jealousy. Like
It's
I
good
think
to
it's
get
It's
jealous. It means you
healthy.
care.
Yeah.
I think that's healthy and it shows that you care. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was getting at. Yeah. That's just what it comes down to.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right. So you talked about hygiene, smelling good, right?
Yeah.
So
I
I
did
know.
notice, sorry to cut you off. I did notice when we said hello to you in the beginning, I was like, this guy smells fucking good.
That's hilarious.
And I was like, I probably smell like shit. I came from the gym.
No, dude, that's so funny.
But my question is basically, so you've said.
Don't ask what my clone is. I won't.
I
tell you.
know. Well, I have another question for something you're gatekeeping, but
That's
three
the only
things.
thing I gatekeep.
I don't know if that's true. Actually, we'll get there.
Okay, we'll
but
see.
I know three things you said that are important to you.
Okay.
Are when in somebody else, right? Hygiene.
Okay.
I don't know what the right word would be, but like a lack of entitlement, right? Or like showing like genuine appreciation and not being entitled.
Okay.
And then someone that has passion or is passionate about something.
Yeah.
If you had to rank those in order of importance, right?
Okay.
How would you rank them in terms of like someone you're going to date seriously? And let's say they could have the first
Passion,
one.
hygiene, entitlement.
Okay, so passion is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's like the first thing I look for in a girl.
Okay, and so
Besides her physical appearance. Yeah.
so is that more passionate about something, or just like a passion for life, or
Passionate about something and like what they do.
okay,
Like for me specifically, because like I can only talk about myself, is like I really, and I'm just turned on by some chick that has like shit going on for her. Like I don't care if she scrubs toilets for a living. Like as long as she's fucking happy and passionate about it, get at it, girl. Like have a great time. But someone who like
just wash your hands before you come home.
yeah, exactly, obviously, exactly. But like someone that just like sits around all day and like does nothing with themselves and has really no purpose, like that's just like hard to deal with. You know, I feel like that kind of brings you like to a lower level.
Yeah, and it'll seep into your life, right? Especially if you have something going on and they don't.
Totally.
They kind of maybe resent you in a way.
There could be a jealousy factor.
Yeah, and I think
in a way.
Yeah, I think a lot of people say they don't feel that way, but they should, right? Like if you should be attracted to someone if they're just passionate about something.
Sure.
And I think people put a dollar amount on it, right? And I think that's bad because then you're like pigeonholing yourself into like, okay, if this person only makes this much money,
Sure.
then they're really passionate about it.
Okay.
Where it's like, well, if they could, like you said, if they're just passionate about something, yeah. And
Something.
I think the other day someone asked me like, what should someone do to kind of make them more wanted after a first date?
Okay.
And I said, listen, I never played games, like don't answer for 3 days, this or that.
Yeah.
But if I would text the girl and she didn't answer for a little bit of time, right? An hour, half an hour, at least it made me think she's doing something, right?
Okay. That's a good way of looking at it.
Where it's like, I don't expect her to, if she answered right away, that's fine. But if she answered right away every single time, I'd be like, are you
100%.
just doing anything?
Yeah.
You know?
That's so funny because like I think there's truth to that because it is representative of probably like her overall life. But I'm just thinking of the opposite where like let's say you're with a girl and you're like and she doesn't answer. You're like, is she doing someone? What the fuck? And it's like it's just a funny like at the one hand that early on you don't want her to respond, but then one day she's not responding. You go, what the fuck is going on here? So it is kind of funny how the tables turn like that. That's interesting.
You know what's funny though? I'm gonna stop you right there. Is I love when people are like, oh, I don't play the game. I don't play the game. But I feel like people play the game regardless of whether or not they are playing. So it could be as simple as like you texting someone, them not responding for a couple hours, and then the reason being is like they're filming a podcast, and then they're like, hey, like so sorry, just saying this. What's up? And then now you are waiting 2 hours because you're like, oh, that girl didn't text me. So I always say like there is a form of game going on, whether or not you know you're playing it. I I'm very like open and like I preach that all the time. I try to say I don't play the game, but like I do play the game a little bit just to like keep it fun and enticing, you know?
Well, the fact that you just called me out on that, I appreciate, because we were on someone else's podcast and in the comments, it was about this clip.
Yeah.
And in the comments, they were saying, well, you are kind of playing games. So kind of you just said, and I was like, shit, you're right. I am kind of playing games.
I mean, listen, you are, but you're not.
Right.
Like you're playing the game, but you don't understand you're playing it.
Yeah, like if that person answered me every time right away and I met them in person, like for our next date,
Totally.
and they were like, yeah, I was shooting this movie all day yesterday. I'd be like, wow, it's really impressive that you not only shot the movie all day, but answered me right away. And I wouldn't get turned off. I'd be like, that's just really impressive.
Sure. But don't you think, like, is it a turn off for you? I'm gonna say you, because like you're single and ready to mingle. Do you feel like it's a turn off when a girl is texting you like 24/7? When you text her, it's ping, text her, what's up? How are you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So yes, I would say yes in overall, yes, but if we're like engaged in a conversation,
sure,
right? I mean, also it's like, why don't we just talk on the phone?
Yeah, exactly.
But if we are engaged in a conversation, I'm fine with going back and forth.
Sure.
But there'll be times where like for whatever reason, I'm busy or I'm doing something, I won't respond for like 6 hours, let's say.
Yeah.
And then within like 8 seconds, I see the bubble. I'm like, oh, but it's also like a thing where it's like I just answered like 50 text messages that from random people that piled up or work.
Yeah.
So I would say like, because it is representative. It's not even about games. It's representative of like, I guess it's cool that you're into me, but like, why are you so glued to your phone that like you don't have anything else going on?
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it maybe it's a little hypocritical to say, but I do think it is a bit of a turnoff if someone just responds so quickly all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah.
Okay.
But now, do you get a lot of DMs in your Instagram and stuff, like with women trying to take you out and stuff?
Yeah, I guess so. To sound like not like as
Do you entertain
not
any of it?
pretentious. Sometimes,
Yeah.
yeah. I always say like, shoot your shot in the DMs, and if the guy finds you attractive, like he'll respond. I'm not saying like I don't see all of them. I don't see all of them, but I see a lot of them. And like if you're my cup of tea, then maybe I'll respond. And if you're not, then
What's the woman's approach usually to try and like get your
dude,
attention?
women don't need to have any game. That's the thing. Girls don't need to have any fucking game. All they need to do is open the door, and then the guy has to initiate the conversation.
So like send you like a heart emoji.
Yeah,
or,
they could
like,
respond to a
eyes.
story. It's as simple as that, which is so funny because it's like guys have to like kind of work and be a little bit more clever than that. I feel to like get in there, but that's subjective. Like a guy can say, excuse my French, but like you look like a piece of shit. And if he's like fucking hot, the girl's gonna be like, what? Like, why do you think that? And
I'm
if
a
he's
hot
not,
piece of shit, yeah.
and if he's not, then they're gonna be like, ew, what a creep.
Yeah,
And I
exactly.
say that everywhere. It's like it's very subjective to the girl, where it's like if you're at the club, a guy can go up and say, cute heels. And if he's hot and she finds him attractive, she'll be like, oh, thank you. Like, that's so sweet of you. But if a guy comes up and he's not as attractive and she doesn't really fancy him and he's like, cute heels, she's like, ew, get away. It's so creepy.
That's so true.
It's so
it's insane because it's exactly right. Like if a hot guy did anything and showed a girl any level of attention that she wanted, they'd accept it in a second.
Totally.
But it sucks for the guy because he doesn't know if the girl thinks he's hot or not, right?
Yeah.
So if a guy is not that good looking and he thinks, oh, like I'm gonna say nice shoes to this girl and she's gonna love me,
Yeah.
and then she's like, you're a creep. He's like, oh shit, I can't say nice shoes to girls anymore.
Yeah,
It's like,
the poor guy.
yeah,
The
'cause
poor
you don't know
guy.
how he feels, how he views himself.
But that's why we say it's all a numbers game.
Yeah.
You go up and you say nice shoes to 10 girls, you'll get 2 or 3 responses.
Yeah.
I hope. If you don't, then you're doing something wrong. That's your delivery at that point.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite stories. I think I heard it on I saw it on YouTube on like the Howard Stern show.
Yeah.
It's about Jason Sudeikis and Olivia Wilde. Have you guys ever heard that story?
No.
So essentially, like it was at an SNL like rap party or whatever.
Okay.
And they were having the party, they were dancing or whatever, and he goes up to her on the dance floor and he says, you know, whatever you're looking for, you don't need it. And he just walked away, right? And that was it. And then he like waited like, I don't know, months, like 3-4 months. And she was like so intrigued, but he didn't do anything. And he ended up, then I think she chased him down, got his number. And then they started like a little thing from there.
Yeah.
But like, obviously like he's Jason Sudeikis. I mean, she's Olivia Wilde, but he's Jason Sudeikis. So he had a lot of value. So again, if some like random like page from the show went up to her and said that, she'd be like, what the fuck
I
is
think
this,
it's
this person talking about?
Yeah.
even, but I'm saying like if so someone below her, like a random assistant
Right.
came up to her and said that, she would like, what the fuck is this guy saying? But it was Jason Sudeikis. So that was key. But I'm reading here now, he says that he had heard that she was in a relationship or seeing somebody. So he's like, in my brain, I didn't have any like expectation of like hitting on her. Just like, let me plant this little seed and then I'll just walk away. And then he goes on to say that he got super busy over the next couple months. So it wasn't even intentional that he didn't follow up with it, but he was just living his life. So this is kind of what we're talking about like, you know, it's not about playing a game of like, you know, waiting to make them think you're cool. It's like, are you actually cool? Do you have stuff going on? Are you career focused? Like you have other stuff in your life? Because eventually the truth's going to come out, whether you're playing a game or you're, you know, having a really cool, exciting life. So I think the bottom line is like, just, you know, live a life that's true to you, but like the more valuable you are, like in terms of like how, you know, your lifestyle and how cool it is and how interesting it is, that's what's going to attract people. It's not like these little lines or it's not these little games. It's like who you actually are at the core.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. I like the idea of kind of going in, like you said, without an expectation, having a conversation and like trying like not trying to get anything out of it. So like have that conversation at the coffee shop, be like, hey, well, it was so nice to meet you. And then you take off. You don't ask for her number. You don't ask for her Instagram. You don't ask for shit. And then you just trust that maybe like if it's meant to be, like you'll see her elsewhere. And like I was at Barney's Beanery the other night and we had such a fun night out and I was standing outside and this girl, like so cool, was just like flirting with me and we're like going back and forth. And I think I had these Polaroids and she like took the Polaroids and it was like of me being at like the bar next door or something like that. So she like goes through them and I'm like, yeah, like here, you could keep one. So she's like, I want this. She's like, I want this one. This is so cute. I was like, all right, cool. Like feel free. It's yours. So she puts it in her purse and I was like, hey, like it was so nice to meet you. And then we take off. And then a week later she DMs me and she's like, I think we should make our like another Polaroid. Ooh, and what I liked about it was like, the fact that I didn't expect anything from her. I just like, you know, she wanted something. So I gave her like a little Polaroid and like, she thought about that for a week. And like that, I feel like that builds up tension and like the suspense is just like, wait, who the fuck is this guy? Like, let me go find him. And I was like, how did you find me? She's like, I had to ask a friend who asked a friend and asked a friend. Like she went through all that trouble to like,
that's great.
Find me. I think that's really cool.
Because like you could have asked for a number and maybe it would have ruined it. Maybe
totally.
Like, oh, this, I don't know.
Yeah,
like, You left a little mystery. And,
a little bit. Dude,
because there's a little
gamesmanship
to it. That,
yeah. Because why not?
Yeah.
Yeah, why not? Yeah.
Because like the, you know, one of the most unbelievable scenes, but in Hitch when Will Smith goes up to Ava Mendes at the beginning and like, you know, he doesn't directly hit on her, but he like really piques her interest and then just leaves.
Yeah, I just watched it on the plane.
Oh, it's great, yeah.
He goes, correct me if I'm wrong. He's like, hey, sweetheart, can I get 2 rums and a Coke or something?
That's the other woman. He's like, yeah, 2 Coronas over at the pool table.
Yeah, something like that.
And then she gets pissed because she doesn't actually work there. And she comes over to him. But Ava Mendes, he kind of says like, he kind of goes through this whole spiel and he's like, you know what? We'll probably both go on living great lives, blah, blah, blah. And then he just leaves. And it's like, she's like, oh, fuck, who was that?
What I liked about that is the whole thing was hypothetical.
Yes.
If you remember it,
yeah, he
was like, well, hypothetically speaking, you know, this would happen, and then they'd fall in love, and they'd go here, and blah blah blah. And I swear to God, I stole that, and I use it all the time.
He's the date doctor. I mean, it's good advice.
Yeah. Where I just like you make everything like hypothetical, you know. So it's like you're hitting on them, but it's indirectly hitting, so it doesn't feel like so like forced at one. It's more like bending around the rules. And
it's
then
like,
you could kind of take it above and beyond and be like, oh, well, hypothetically speaking, we'd, you know, conceive 2 beautiful children right here on this desk. And then she'd be like, yeah, and their names be Timothy and fucking Jerome. I don't know. And then like it just builds and builds and builds because it's not so like directly shooting at one another. It's just a joke.
Yeah, you're building like a shared world together. And I think I always told Joe like improv class is like my favorite thing, and that's kind of exactly what you're doing there. I've taken probably like 4 or 5 over the years.
That's
but like,
cool.
It's therapeutic, and it's also just like it's a great skill to have is be able to just riff and let loose and not really. It's kind of you let your guard down and you kind of just open up and be silly without any sort of care.
Yeah, which is cool. It just helps with like your wet at the end of the day, which is nice.
Exactly.
Yeah, you guys both have good wit.
Thanks, man.
I'm just observing your little bromance about being single. No, I'm not jealous.
Hey, we're all aspiring to be like you.
Yeah, exactly, man. We're working.
We're looking for our Hannahs.
We're figuring this out to get. Yeah, exactly.
All right, so I want to get into some questions from listeners, but first about the gatekeeping.
Oh boy.
I know that you're gatekeeping your favorite date spot in LA.
Yeah, I don't tell anybody my favorite date. I just don't want anyone to like show up to like my favorite.
All right, how about this? How about you give a hint that like?
No, I don't want him to ruin it.
No,
I feel his pain.
I have like 3. Listen,
How about you give a good one then? If you're not gonna give your best one because you're selfish,
I just like going because I'm selfish. I love going to dinner. So like, I think dinner's a great first date. It's easy. It's to the point.
what's a
like,
good restaurant in LA that you like for take to? Not the secret, but like
no, that's fine. All right, there's 3 that I like. I always say I like the Nice Guy because it's like I love like dark candlelit dinners, but there's got to be a good ambiance. So the Nice Guy
Medieval
is nice.
times or no?
Oh, dude, I went to Medieval Times like 2 weeks
You've
ago.
gone everywhere.
Yeah,
He's been to Staten Island, the Yankee game, the Dodger game, the Angels game. Medieval
Bro,
times.
we went with all my boys and we're like, well, we brought some girls with us too, but we're like, dude, we should like bring dates here just because it's so stupid.
Yeah.
Like it's so dumb. It's like funny.
It's great. Yeah.
And yeah, you have her like eating a huge turkey leg. But anyways.
Yeah, you'll see if she's a real one. If she's gonna eat with no
Exactly.
utensils and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. They didn't have utensils.
Yeah.
That's right.
And you get to call her a wench and see how she reacts. That's the best. Yeah.
I think, listen, again, I'm a big dinner advocate. The Nice Guy, just because they have jazz nights some nights, which are like super cool.
The Nice Guy reminds me of New York the most.
Does it?
Here in like West Hollywood, Beverly Hills.
Interesting.
The Nice Guy is my favorite New York-esque type spot, being from New York.
Okay, cool. I like that. Then, yeah, Nice Guy. And what's funny is my manager who's from New York, not the one that you think, my acting manager. He's from New York, and he's like, let's go to Nice Guy. So he showed me the Nice Guy. I loved it. I also love El Pastel. That's the best bang for your buck. Anywhere, listen, I'm going to put you guys on game. El Pastel is like, yeah, you have to ask for Nino. That's like my guy. He's like, he runs the whole place. It's like great ambiance, great food, great price point, good vibes.
Love it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I know El Pastel.
Yeah, it's like one of my joints. The other one, I'm not going to tell you guys where that one is. I'll tell you off camera. And then, where else do I like? Oh, if you're just looking to get like drinks, I'm not a drink guy. I'll do that like after dinner if we like want to do something and we're not like going
So
to
I'm
each
curious
other's
about
homes.
that. So why are you a drink guy after? Like, so is the dinner established with this person already, where it's like you guys have this rapport, or is it like a first date? Because for me, dinner first dates were too intimidating because I was like, I don't want to be locked in.
Okay.
If I don't like this person.
Here's your answer to all your
Okay.
problems. Ready? And I was talking to all my friends about this the other day, like all my guy friends, and I was like, well, yeah, did you screen her? And I hope that doesn't like come off as being like a douchebag, but he's like, what do you mean? I was like, did you FaceTime her? He's like, no. It's like, why the fuck would you not FaceTime this girl? A 5-minute FaceTime goes way longer than a month of texting. You pick up their vibe, you pick up their tonality, you pick up just their sense of humor, like just who they are as a person. So like before I go on a first date, I've already talked to you on the phone or FaceTime so I could see like your mannerisms when something's said 3-4 times before I ever take you on the first date. Does that make sense? So I know that I'm going to have a good time with you at the 2-hour, 3-hour
Okay,
dinner.
that's fair.
Have you ever FaceTimed and then canceled, knowing you weren't
I
interested?
won't make the date until I FaceTime you.
Okay, so the date does. Okay.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's just like my prerequisite. Like everyone has like their own like thing, you know, and that's just kind of like what I
Yeah, and I
do.
think that's very reasonable, and it kind of makes a lot of sense.
It makes sense. It saves you time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and them time too.
100%. Yeah.
But
I
what
think
was the drink spot?
the one hotel.
Oh yeah, I love the one.
Oh,
too.
we
Yeah.
would go there all the time.
That's a really nice.
I love that
ambiance,
spot
yeah.
because it's nice because there's a whole bunch of people around you.
Comfortable seating too.
You sit down on couches, you lounge around, you have a good time till like 1, 2 in the morning.
And they usually have live music, even if it's like a acoustic or
Something simple like that. There's a couple other spots, but I'm not saying those. I don't want everyone to show up to those spots.
Well, I want to say my spot, but our spot's always mentioned on.
Pache.
Yeah, Pache is like.
What's that?
It's an
Oh, that's
Italian
probably his spot.
restaurant.
He's trying to play dumb.
No, I don't know.
Like, what's
what it is.
Pache?
You never been to Pache?
No.
Oh, so Pache is this Italian restaurant that's up Laurel Canyon, but like in the middle of the mountain.
Yep, I've been there.
Oh, it's so good.
It's cool. That's a sick vibe.
And it's the best pizza I've ever had in LA.
Is it
And I'm
really?
a big pizza guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Huge
What are you
pizza
like,
guy.
Dave Portnoy?
Oh, I wish.
Wait,
Not
that's
morally, but pizza wise.
Pacha,
Yeah.
that's the one with like there's like bricks and wrought iron fences like around it, right? It's just in the middle of the neighborhood.
Yeah, you wouldn't even really know.
Yeah,
it was there.
think-
Kind of
Yeah.
thing. I mean, you see it, but like you
I
wouldn't know
think
what
if
it is.
you have a next
Yeah.
good date,
Yeah.
you should take them there and try the pizza, and then let me know what
Really?
you think. Oh, it's so good.
See, I'm a huge fan of like going and knowing where we're going first. So I can be like, hey, like
That makes sense.
I'll order this. Like tell me what you want if there's anything on the menu specifically, but I'll get like da da da. Which is funny because like I always tell girls I don't like to eat like in front of girls on first dates, which is weird. It's not like I'm a bad eater. That's just like my thing. I love having food on the table, but I'm not going to sit there and start like
I was saying
munching
this yesterday.
like
We were online at Great White for breakfast.
love.
And, you could just see right in. So you see everybody eating and no one could see that you're looking at them. And there was this guy. He was just in love with his food. And I was like, Hannah, look, like, isn't eating such a weird thing to watch humans do? It's like, it's kind of like sex. This guy was just like in his feels about this food. And I was like,
That
this
is so
crazy.
funny.
Oh God.
Yeah, I don't know. The reason I say that is because it's like, when are you ever gonna look at a girl and be like, wow, the way you just munch that Caesar salad is turning me on so much right now. Like that's just my thought process. I could be just like delusional, but like that's kind of like where I stand with
It could
eating.
be a good litmus test though to kind of see what she orders and just kind of get a feel for it.
True.
Yeah, but it's not a sexy thing.
Yeah, it's
necessarily.
not. And then kind of piggyback off of your thing where you're like sense of entitlement, kind of. I remember that I said on that podcast was I love when the ultimate test for me is like when a girl like offers to like split it with you. I'll never let her touch it. Like I'll never let her touch the bill. Never.
Oh, you're the best.
Never. But like to me, I love to sit there and see if she's willing to, because it just tells me a lot about the person, like how she was brought up. And
So you have like a little Mexican standoff where you're just like eyeing each other and
no, it's more just like, listen, like I will always, not always, but like 8 out of 10 times, like I'll say, hey, I need to go to the bathroom, and I'll take care of the bill. So when it comes back down, it's not like that awkward moment, like, oh, let me. But sometimes when I just like, sometimes if I can't do that and the bill comes out, like I'll grab it and it just means a lot. If she's like, oh, let me, and I'll just be like, absolutely not. And if she like presses it, take her card and like put it in my pocket until you know what I mean?
Yeah, we always talk about that. When we first started the app and the podcast, that was one of our main questions about splitting the bill.
Yeah.
And yeah, for me, it was like, even if I know in the first second I'm not into you, I'm never going to make you pay.
Never.
But if you don't do the reach, it's just like, oh, like
Listen,
you just
like,
expected this real meal.
Totally. That's what I'm saying, right? And like we know we would never take it.
Right.
But just the little action of, no.
Yeah, and
Thank
what's
you
crazy
for doing that.
is like, in a weird way, the more adamant, like when we were on our first date, me and Hannah, she was so adamant about splitting it. And I was like, either she's not into me and she's like, doesn't want to feel obligated for a second date, or it's like, she's so nice and like really valuing this time. And I was like, this is great.
Which is
and there's a cultural thing there too, though, right? Australian, isn't it more common to split?
Yeah, I think so. But I think like even for I don't know for us, but for like me being like an Italian New Yorker, like our cultural thing was like always paying. Like let the woman pay. And it's not like a superiority.
Superiority.
But yeah, just like it's just something that I would always do.
Totally.
But
Totally.
I really love that response.
As you should. Even if I go out with like girls who are friends, like I'm still paying for
Right.
them.
Yeah. I love that. I even go too far sometimes where it's like friends and it's like
same.
I kind of want everybody to have a good time.
Totally.
I'm like, I would rather, even if I could afford it or not, I'd rather pay for your drink so you have a good time.
Oh, dude, same.
Where it's like if my friend's stressing about, I really can't have another drink. I'm just
Totally.
like, I'll eat it.
Dude,
for you.
I
don't really
always,
care.
literally the same. Yeah.
I love
literally,
that.
I don't care if I have $100 in my bank account, like I will, and we're out having a good time, I will spend the $94 that whatever the check is just so
You'll
I
be
know
washing dishes if necessary.
Dude, 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of
Just
my
to make
outlook
sure
on life.
that like
It's
my friends are having a good time.
yeah, it's probably not the best outlook at the long term.
It's not. It's
but
not. It's not.
I'm so much more about like living in the moment and being happy.
Sure.
And I'm like, same thing. Like if I have any money, I'll figure it out. But like, let's just have a good time.
Totally. Yeah, I agree.
How are we doing on time over there?
Yeah, we got 55. So
Okay, cool. So we'll hit up. So we got some questions from listeners. So these are for Troy and the boys.
Troy and the boys.
Dear Troy and the boys.
Troy and the boys.
A couple of them we actually got to.
Are these
so-
rapid fire questions or are they
No,
just okay?
yeah, we can just play with them a little bit.
Are you gonna do the rapid fire?
Yeah.
Okay. It's my favorite segment.
So someone did say, as a woman, should I at least offer to pay on the first date?
Yeah.
Right. And I do think that there was something we didn't touch on was I need to see the intent behind the offer. Like if she reaches, right, but doesn't even have a pocket there, then I'm like, oh, this fucking, she's a liar.
It
So
could help though. It could help.
It's better than doing nothing.
Yeah.
But there's levels to it, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like, is she adamant to pay is like the top. And then at the bottom, it's like, is she trying to fuck the DJ while you're paying the bill type
But I
of
like that say because maybe going into it, she's like, I'm never gonna pay for this date. Maybe on the date, she's like, I really like this guy, but I don't have a pocket or a wallet. let me fake it and then explain to him after how much I like him. So it's maybe a little save.
Yeah, I mean,
interesting.
Exactly, and there's degrees to that too.
Interesting.
But I know we don't want to beat a dead horse because we did just talk about that, but I think the intent is important.
Offer to pay. It goes a long way. We'll never take your card. How about this? If he does take your card to split it, fuck that guy.
Yeah,
Never
definitely.
see that guy ever again.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay, I'm a guy, 26 and living in a big city. Any tips on how to improve my dating app profiles?
Let your girlfriends do it for you. Next question.
No, that's huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't have any female friends, get them because
Get them. Yeah.
I mean, you should have them anyway. If you
gives
don't,
you
there's
cred.
something wrong. But also, you learn a lot about women, right?
Yeah.
You get inside their heads, and they usually have friends that you can meet. And because I think mutual friends is one of the best ways to meet, right? Obviously,
Totally.
as opposed to better than dating apps, potentially better than coffee shops. It's a great way. So, but yeah, if you have your female friends, if they help you curate your profile, because they're looking at it from a woman's perspective, right? So sometimes what we think looks good or doesn't look good, or we think it's funny. Yeah.
What about the opposite? What do you not like on a woman's profile, or what do you like?
I don't like when girls have other women on their profile because I don't know who I'm looking at.
Okay.
You know?
If it's, what if the first one is just them and then?
If it's them, if you really need to post a bikini photo to like get attention, like do you? But I'm probably not gonna be like, wow, you're my wife. You know, you're probably like more of just a good time.
Yeah. See, like that's super interesting because my approach was, I get that you want to show your body off, right? Even like me myself, I would want to show my body off.
Yeah, totally.
But like,
Not saying that's wrong.
do an
Not saying that's
activity though is what I like. Like if she was playing volleyball and like was
Yeah,
hitting the
yeah,
volleyball,
yeah.
and you could obviously see she's in a bikini. It's like, oh, that's
Totally.
really cool because you're not just showing your body, but
It's not just
you're
like
showing
an
your
ass
body.
pic that your friend took, and
Yes.
you're like, oh, does it look good? And you're just like, yeah. No, I feel that. Yeah, there's tasteful ways to going about
Yes.
that. Yeah.
Cool. Okay. If he likes you, you'll know. If he wanted to, he would. If you're his type, he'll show interest. Have you ever seen any exceptions to these little rules?
If he likes you, you'll know.
And we can take them one at a
Wanted
time
to,
if
he
you want.
would. I'm trying to think. You know, if he wanted to, he would.
Because they
No.
do seem like very hard rules in terms of like there's probably not many exceptions.
Yeah, I don't really think they're.
Hey, can you think of any, Joe?
So what was it?
So like if he likes you, you'll know type of thing, or
Yeah.
if he wanted to, he would, which is very common in the TikTok therapy world. But
Which is so overused, and I hate saying that now, just because like everyone's like, "Oh, I watched that video of you that you made." Like, I'm like, "Yeah, listen."
Oh, this is a
everyone
video
knows
that you
about-
made? This is what we're referencing?
I mean,
Well,
no, everyone says it.
Okay.
Everyone says it. I just elaborated on
yeah,
it.
I think
'cause
if
it
he
was
wanted to,
true.
he would is the biggest one I've heard.
So
Probably
if he
a
wanted
million.
to, he would.
Yeah, they're all kind of related. Like
Like, if
basically,
he
if a guy
wanted to,
if a guy is
What was
interested,
the third one?
I just deleted it actually, but it was like
The
if
first one I actually think makes more sense to me personally. Like
if he was interested, you'll
know.
he'll show it. Yeah,
Is that
type
what you
of
said?
thing.
Or-
They're all
that-
kind of related. Yeah,
100%.
but like you're saying for that one,
so are they supposed to be related? Because like for me, if I was interested, I would obviously let them know. Like I wouldn't. Why would I not let them know? I'm
Yeah.
just confused about like, in a good way. I'm confused because like I would definitely let them know.
I think that it's coming from a woman's perspective where it's like the guy's not showing interest, but she wants
Right.
him to, so she's trying to justify.
So
like,
yeah. So what I'm saying is, if you're confused if he likes you or not,
he doesn't like you.
yeah,
Yeah.
I would let I would let them know.
Oh, yeah, I get for sure, and that would be nice. But I think
It's like
yeah,
who's
go
on
ahead.
first. But if he likes you, he would. That one could get a little dicey because he could be. And maybe he's busy. Maybe he's out of town. I don't know. So I would leave a little wiggle room for.
How
if he
about
likes
this?
you, he would.
People have lives and they've got a lot of shit going on.
Yeah.
But people make time for those they want to make time for.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
like, I don't care if you're on like a 24-hour plane, like you will go buy the Wi-Fi and like try to text somebody.
Well,
And
that's
you'll
how they
buy
do.
them a little gift on the way.
yeah,
on the way
exactly.
home.
Or if you're like passing through New York and that just so happens to be where so and so is, you're there for 18 hours. Like if you really want to see that person, if you wanted to, you would, you know. Or if you really care about that person, you will make time to do
Yes.
or see them.
And now that I'm throwing text into it, yeah, if he wanted to, he will text you. And it's like the old Seinfeld saying where it's like a guy will always trade sleep for sex, like always.
Huh? Interesting. Yeah, that's true.
So if he wants to, he'll
Yeah,
figure it out.
exactly.
Yeah, he'll drive like 5 hours to come see you
Okay,
for like a
how
5-minute like interaction.
No, for real, though. It's true. Yeah, so true.
30 seconds.
How do I get over heartbreak? I was seeing a guy for 3 months and things were going great. Out of nowhere and through text message, he said he wasn't feeling the connection anymore and ended things. We never had a conversation after that. So how do you get over heartbreak for something like that?
Goodness gracious. Okay. Not discrediting that relationship, but that was 3 months. Like if
Sure.
it was like 3 years, it's a different story. But like 3 months, it's like I still feel like that's like the unicorn phase or like the honeymoon stage. Just rely on your friends. That's like the biggest thing is like, that doesn't mean you have to go out to the clubs and the bars to get fucked up and go meet other people. You don't need to go like sleeping with like everything and their mom because that's just gonna like dig you in a deeper hole. Just put the energy into something that you actually wanted to do. You know, that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that. I always tell people like, if you're going through heartbreak, you should like if you actually want to feel better, I'd probably work on myself.
Yeah.
Because you'll actually feel better and then it'll actually make you more attractive. So I completely agree. Like some people will, even men and women, like I'm just gonna go sleep with everybody. And if you actually cared about somebody, it's probably gonna make you worse.
Yeah.
But if you just evaluate like what happened in that situation,
yeah,
I think that's a better course of action.
Yeah. Go hit the gym.
Yeah, exactly. I think there's two ways to do it, right? I think it's like Band-Aid solutions, which is like be busy, hang out with your friends, work like work on a project, like just keep your mind occupied. But then there's like getting to the core of the issue, right? Like why obviously you missed the person, but do you now feel that you're like not worthy of love or lacking? So like those are like the core. Eventually you have to fix whatever the core thing is, I think.
Yeah.
So it's like a little bit of both. Again, not a therapist. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Don't listen to me.
Yeah, don't listen
And
to
Troy's only 28. He's not 40 or 50.
Yeah, I hate that. I hate that I like give advice because it's like, what the hell do I know?
Well, we always say like, if you give advice, it's just your advice, which is valuable,
100%.
right? And like maybe other 28-year-olds or 22-year-olds will be like, well, Troy's 28. He kind of relates to what I'm saying, or he's been through what I'm saying. And you're not giving advice to 50-year-olds. You're giving advice to 28-year-olds.
That's fair. I guess I never really thought about it that way. Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
It's doing something right.
I
for
probably
you.
wouldn't take
We
advice,
like
like dating advice from like a 70-year-old right now because just the generation and times have changed.
Yeah.
So you putting it that way actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a great letter from Hunter Thompson that he wrote to a friend. I think I probably told you about the letter where the friend asks him about like for like career advice, right? Like what do I, how do I set my goals? And he basically says, you shouldn't have goals. You should kind of figure out like a lifestyle that you really enjoy living, like on a day-to-day basis, essentially, and then try to figure out how to make like a way of or make a living out of that lifestyle type of thing. Where it's like, because you don't know, like if a goal takes 5 years, you may not even want that goal by the time you get there.
Sure.
Just like figure out what you want to do on a daily basis. But in the end of the letter, he says, I ask you though, in listening to what I say, to remember that all advice can only be a product of the man who gives it. What is truth to one may be disaster to another. I do not see life through your eyes, nor you through mine. So basically he's saying like, he's giving you advice, but it's only through his own lens. So same here, when we give like relationship advice, it's like only through our experiences or things we've read or heard or learned. So like you got to kind of put it all into play for yourself and see what works.
And I think like specifically for you being 28, you're kind of creating a niche in the market where there's not many 28-year-old men talking about dating, right? Like maybe 20.
No, there
women.
are. There are.
Are there?
There are, but a lot of them are just like
Yeah, but they're not.
they're not.
They're not coming off the way that you're coming off from a mature, genuine standpoint.
Hygienic.
But with that messaging, right? Like we comb through social media to try and find these people, right?
Sure, yeah.
And maybe there are 28-year-olds that talk about dating, and they have their way of doing it. It's great, but I personally, through our team's research, haven't found someone your age or younger with a man's approach of being like really genuine and kind of real about what you talk about, right?
Sure.
So
That just means I fooled you good.
maybe.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, I feel like sometimes I like discredit like what I do because it's like everyone and their mom like decides, oh, I want to be like a I don't know, not a therapist, but just like give dating advice. It's like, again, like I said, I don't know everything, but like what I do know is that I don't know everything. So it's just kind of like I just talk about my experiences and how I kind of just like maneuver through them. And it was kind of nice because doing it on social media, I get to like read comments and see how other people kind of like went through their own, circumstances and can kind of like tweak, I guess, things.
Yeah, and
right?
we always talk about this. Like I said earlier, when we first made the app, we knew what we wanted to do with the app, but we didn't know what we wanted to do with our messaging as far as the media side.
Yeah.
And like we personally started to relate to like Jay Shetty people and people who had more of like that wholesome messaging.
Sure, yeah.
Because that's how we felt, and we didn't know that that was cool or out there. We're like, we can't be that. Like, that's not funny or buzzworthy.
Yeah.
But I think if you approach wherever you approach in the way that's genuine to you, it works, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
The way that you talk about dating, it works, and like you sell it to me. Like, I was like, I want to work with this guy, Troy. He's great. You know?
That's humor.
Yeah, and age doesn't
cool,
matter.
huh?
Like if you're actually going through stuff and experiencing it, like that's what matters. Like having the
True.
in the arena experience.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, true.
All right, last one, and then we'll go to rapid fire. So,
Okay.
dear Troy and the boys, what are the first things guys notice about women?
All right, I'll let you guys go first because I've got mine.
You want me to be honest?
Yeah.
I mean, it's definitely physical, but I feel like it's physical.
Let's break it down. Let's do 3 physical and 3 like emotional.
Okay, so physical is tied into if it's in person, it's tied into the mannerisms also.
Okay.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say eyes. Then I'm gonna say mannerisms counts, right? So eyes, mannerisms,
Okay.
and then I would say her body.
Okay.
And then
That's
emotional. I mean, I assume at this point I'm talking to her. The question she's asking, how deep we're getting, right? Like I like to get really deep really quickly. So
Okay.
like, that shows a lot of substance to me.
Yeah.
Her asking me questions, because I'm always going to ask a lot of questions.
Okay.
So if she's reciprocating, love that, and I'll like really get intrigued.
Yeah.
And then kind of talking about her life experience and like what she's doing or done. And like the more she has to talk about, where it's like, whoa, this is really cool. Like Hannah lived in Australia, lived in Milan, lived all over the world. I was like, whoa, I've never done any of that. That's so cool.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think those are my 6.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
What was the question again? I deleted
What
it
the
off
first
my
thing
phone.
that you notice about women?
Okay.
We're doing 3
Troy,
physical
yeah.
and
Troy
3.
bumped it up to a super question. Which I
Oh,
love.
no, it's
Sorry,
great.
yeah, I did.
No, I
Sorry,
love
I
it.
know
No,
we're,
it's
I know we're
fantastic.
stressed on time, but
No, we're not. We're good.
Okay. 3 physical, 3
Yeah,
emotional.
so I think for me, it's a combination of smile and like laughter in a sense. Like, do they seem like they're having a lot of fun?
Okay, cool.
Right. That's huge. Right.
Cool. I like that.
Really into hair.
Okay.
Right. So kind of get a nice look at the mane if it's nice and thick.
Just look at the name.
I don't know. Like it's hard to say because I think if we're talking physical, I think for women that I'm attracted to, and probably for most people, like there's like this X factor that it's like more of an aura, right? It's like an energy and aura, and it's like you kind of see how they're like interacting with the people around them, and if you can kind of, I think you can really feel it. So I think it's like I would say the combination of like hair, smile, hair, and then like the general aura,
presence.
and
That's why I
it's a
said
total
mannerisms.
package.
Like,
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
fair.
You know, like,
I like that.
Yeah,
the way they
I like that.
move about.
Okay.
yeah,
Cool, I like that.
And then I guess like we said emotional
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Non-physical.
Not physical.
not physical. Okay, so I would say like for me, it's super important that we have like a really fun and silly interaction. Like, are we both able to kind of just be chill and like just like kind of like improv, like just let loose and riff
Cool.
off each other
Yeah.
and make each other laugh. And when I first meet somebody, that's really all I'm looking for, right? Is like is that, and then like
Cool.
baseline shit. Like, are they respectful to random people? Do they seem like they
Sure, yeah.
are like, I don't know, just seem like a good person. So
Yeah.
just like that stuff.
Yeah. That's 2.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then I would say,
Really putting them on the point.
everyone always says they hate when people are rude to waitstaff.
Yeah.
So I want a girl that's willing to like massage a waiter while they're taking our order. I want someone to take it to the next level. I want them to give a massage. I want them bussing the table.
Yeah,
I want them to be there. I want them to go the extra mile. So that would be my
funny.
third. Yeah.
That's funny. I guess goes hand in hand to like how they treat people around them. But
Exactly.
like, yeah, I feel that.
But yeah, I think with someone like that you're into, I think it's like, it's more for me anyway, like a total package thing, right? Like I'm not going to be like super physically attracted to somebody and then they're not going to have the emotional things and then I'm going to still be attracted to them. I'd say, oh, she's nice to look at, but
Sure,
like,
yeah.
so it's more of a total package thing. Like, cause I've told stories before where it's like, I've gotten to know somebody over the course of a few days. And as I got to know them as a person, I kind of saw their physical beauty come out. And again, I don't know if it's like, because attraction is, everything.
Yeah.
It's not just physical, but so like, I don't know, like that'll happen sometimes too, where it's like, oh wow, this person is so cool and seemed great. And then I start to see like, oh wow. And I didn't notice that she's like beautiful too. Like,
Yeah. As I get older, the more I like realize like, okay, you could start to develop like feelings for someone who you don't find like physically attractive at first, which is interesting. But Yeah, my 3 are pretty simple. I love teeth. That's like one of the first things.
You have
like,
amazing teeth, by the way.
I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
so
Incredible
yeah.
teeth.
All these things,
Appreciate
I'm
that.
glad they're coming out where I didn't have to initiate them. But yeah, when I smelled you, I was like, shit, maybe I'm really gay. Because he smells really good. And then when I was talking to you, I was like, fuck, his
Hey, we have
teeth are
to-
just so good. I want to give
That's
him a
so
kiss.
These things are not gay.
It's so funny.
These things are not gay.
Dude, this is
Women-
yeah.
In high school,
we're just vibing.
they would have called you a metro, but
Dude, yeah. And
was
they
that big in
did.
California,
And they-
metrosexual?
Yeah, they did.
Okay.
But it's just like, bro, I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, good.
What
I'm
you
clean.
say,
I'm
dude.
clean and I
Yeah.
take care of myself.
Yeah, sorry you're like musty ass.
Yeah.
It's like not getting any chicks. Like that's not my problem.
Okay, sorry. So teeth.
Teeth is a big one. Eyes is obviously like a huge one, but that's like not fun to say. So we're just gonna like take out eyes right now.
Sorry.
I love looking at legs. Like legs for me, like calves is like I don't know why it's not. I don't have a fetish of legs. It's just like to me like a girl with like toned legs is like really sexy. And then like your lips. It's like obviously like look at your lips. I feel like everyone says eyes, so I just don't want to be like everyone saying like oh your eyes, your eyes.
Sure.
Obviously like eyes are great. My 3 like non-physical is like obviously ambition, like what are you passionate about, which is kind of what we already touched on. So I don't need to elaborate on that. 2 is like how you carry yourself. Like I love just a chick who's just like, I love someone that I could bring into a room or bring into like the Christmas party, and I don't need to be like, hey guys, this is so and so, this is so. It's more like she walks in and like takes initiative, like you know, starts cracking humor and like meeting and introducing herself to everyone. I'm like, yep, that's Christine, you know, and people were like, she's a great time. And I'm like, that's why I'm with her, you know?
Yeah.
After that, so passion / ambition, the way someone like kind of carries herself. I love like a classy lady who just like, I don't know if that goes with like carrying yourself in a way, but just like someone who's, yeah, I guess like someone who's just like elegant and like pure with the way that she's like moves, like her intentions. Like you kind of touched on like very like nice to those, like nice to the staff, like nice to the people around her, but again knows her worth, so won't let anybody like walk over her. Just like
huge.
an independent bad bitch. Like I always say that. I always say like I like a girl who's kind of like a bitch because like that means that she knows like what she's all about. And she knows like what she brings to a table, and she's not going to settle for anything less. So whenever my friends are like, "Oh, dude, like she's such a bitch," it's like, bro, that's because you have nothing going on for you. Like I love you, but like you're just not at that level. So like you can't match that, you know. Piggyback, just another extra point. I love someone that could banter, like good sarcasm.
Absolutely.
Oh, just going back and forth and just shooting the shit. Like we don't even have to have a conversation as long as it's like. I DM'd some chick the other day and we were talking about like wedding venues. I was like, you want to get married now or later? And she's like, let's just do it now to save the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, cool, what's your number? I'll send you wedding venues. And I sent 2 really nice like Italy and France wedding venues. And then a playful one, which was like a Taco Bell in Las Vegas. Like you people get married at fucking Taco Bell in
I'll
Las
officiate
Vegas.
if you need me.
Thank you.
I'm
yeah,
ordained. Yeah.
I need you. Yeah. And so I sent that. I sent all 3. She obviously chose the Taco Bell one. And then we started going back and forth about like how we're gonna cater like Supreme Locos Gorditos Crunches to the fucking thing with like
Which
desserts.
people would like more anyway, probably.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
So
I
like
love the sweating.
it was just so fun. And when I actually met with her, I was like, why'd you meet with me? And she was like, obviously I worked it in. I wasn't like, why'd you come out with me? But she was like, your banter was just hilarious. Like I could just tell right off the bat, like you were funny and like intriguing and witty. She's like, that's why I'm here. And I was like, interesting.
Love it.
This was now my new favorite segment ever in our 50 episode.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.
Seriously,
Cheers to
And
that.
I
was
will
great.
say I have to throw in probably one of my top physical traits that I didn't say because you can't always see it, but I love a nice set of clavicles, like just a nice collarbone.
Interesting.
Yeah, really
I haven't
love
heard that one. I like
This
that.
was such a
Yeah.
great conversation.
Yeah.
And now I'm thinking like, did Hannah mark all these things? And
Uh-oh.
it's funny because like she's Australian, right?
Yeah.
So her banter is way better than
So
mine.
sick. That's so cool.
But when we first raised money for the app,
Mm.
you know, my investor was like, I want to meet like Hannah, I want to host you guys.
Sure.
And going into it, I was like, oh man, Hannah's gonna crush this guy because he's like a really powerful guy.
Yeah.
So he met Hannah and he said something so ridiculous.
Yeah.
And Hannah just bantered right back, but like she's tall and like aggressive.
Uh,
And he was like, whoa, like you got yourself a real one here. I was like,
sick. Yeah. And that's just like a girl and like
like,
knows
yeah.
like who she is and is
Yeah,
not
she's
afraid
not
to be,
intimidated.
which is so hot. I think that's like so sexy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, sorry. I know we're stressed on time.
No,
Do
you're
you-
good. And I was going to add to that too. You were talking about like someone who comes off as a bitch, but I know what you meant by that, because I think
Yeah.
it's like the same as being like a nice guy, where you just get pushed around and like
Sure.
you
Sure.
don't really maybe know what you believe in and
Totally.
stand for. So I
Yeah.
think that's important as well.
Yeah, just know how to say no.
Yeah.
Yeah. saves you a lot
Well,
of
let's
time.
close it out with the rapid fires,
Cool,
right?
let's do
So,
it.
I mean, some people will give some really long-winded ones. We try to actually rapid fire it,
Yeah,
but
yeah. That's,
Joe and I will
it never
interject
works
sometimes.
that way.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
All right. What is the best thing that happened to you today?
This podcast.
Love it.
Yeah,
We're like
honestly.
40 for 40 with that answer. So thank you.
Okay, well, I'm taking it back.
Yeah,
That's
go
not
for
fun.
the second best thing.
Um,
And so the guests know at home, my man here showed up an hour early and was super flexible, so we appreciate that.
yeah, I accidentally walked in on the the podcast beforehand, so I apologize. He's trying not to turn around right now, but no, okay, I don't want to say that. I went to the coffee shop and I got a free coffee because the baristas know me,
Nice.
so they're
Which
always
one?
like, "What's up, Troy?" Verve on Melrose,
Yeah,
next
great
to
spot.
the Great White on Melrose.
Have you tried Bravo Toast
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan.
of the coffee?
Yeah, is that weird?
We'll cut
I
that.
love their coffee so much better. than
Really?
Verve.
I have to go back. I love Verve. I love La Colombe, and I love Alfred's, or Alfred.
Yeah, Alfred's
Even
cool.
though it's kind of like standard in LA,
It's
but
very LA.
it's great.
Yeah. Have you taken a picture in front of the influencer wall at Alfred?
There's an influencer wall.
Well, actually, so Alfred on Melrose, right?
Okay.
You know Alfred T, like the over on the other side of the
I
street.
don't go to the T side.
There's like influencer wall over there. It's like
Okay,
a
so I
pink-
have
yeah.
not done that because
Okay.
again, I'm not an influencer.
Okay, you're the anti-influencer.
Yeah,
Okay,
next
what
question.
is the best compliment you ever received?
You smell good.
Okay.
Or actually, I take that back because that's boring too. I don't like to be like everybody. Like if someone's like, oh, I love so and so, I'm gonna be like, cool, yeah, they're cool, but like I don't love them because everybody else loves them.
You're a hipster. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. One of a kind, baby. No, let's do. You are exactly the person you portray yourself online.
That's a great one.
Like you're exactly who I thought you'd be from like your videos and shit like
I
that.
love that.
That's
I
a really
posted
good
that
one.
on my Instagram too.
Really?
I said, "Are you in private what you portray in public?"
Yeah.
It's like what we talked about with Dr. Taryn as being congruent, right? Inside, outside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's too hard to play like a character,
Yeah.
Yeah.
my opinion.
What is your favorite romantic comedy?
Crazy Stupid Love.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Do you know what Forgetting Sarah Marshall is?
I do. Dude, I watched that so long ago. I don't even remember it.
Wow, it's so interesting. We did a segment in New York, and that was like, we thought it was an easy question to say,
Yeah.
like, can you name 2 actors or actresses in Forgetting Sarah Marshall? Nobody knew what the movie was.
No way.
I guess it was like a
We're
super
dating
young
ourselves, yeah.
crowd.
No. 'Cause
2007.
we
But
were
yeah,
like
no one
scrolling
got
through
it.
it the other day, and I was like, "Oh, should we play this?" And everyone's like, "I've seen it too many times." I
Okay,
just like,
well that's
That's good.
reassuring.
I haven't watched it
Okay.
in
Okay.
forever, so I don't even remember.
Okay. Last movie that made you cry.
I'm not really like I don't really cry
Okay.
in movies. I don't really.
a movie that made you cry.
I don't watch movies enough to do that. You could just say like The Notebook, but like even that like doesn't make me.
Okay, maybe just well up a little bit.
I'm with you. I only had one movie that ever made me cry.
Which one?
Marley and Me.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Do you have a dog?
Yeah.
Okay, well that makes sense.
Yeah.
Golden Retriever.
No, boxer.
Okay, close enough.
Yeah.
Big dog.
Masculine energy in the household. Most played song on your Spotify, either now or all time.
Something on. Justin Bieber, Mark My Words.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a good song.
If you could have a drink with anyone, living or dead, who would it be?
I like Brad Pitt.
Nice.
I think he's cool. It's kind of a boring answer, but like maybe like I feel like the right thing is like Gandhi, or maybe like
That'd be
Go with
boring.
Brad Pitt.
That'd
I
be
like the
boring.
Brad Pitt.
or maybe someone like maybe like a Caesar,
Okay.
like back in the day.
Who do you get
Just
as your celebrity lookalike?
I get like Zac Efron or like Tom Cruise,
Who do you
or
think?
like
'Cause I
Morris,
have someone.
James Marsden.
Yes.
Yeah.
James Marsden.
Marsden, is that his name?
Have you
Yeah.
seen Jury Duty?
No,
Very funny show.
really?
Yeah, very funny.
Yeah, no, I haven't seen that.
Okay. It just came out a month or two ago. What is your go-to karaoke song?
Anything Jonas Brothers.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like in the Ubers on the way to the clubs, if you have like a whole bunch of chicks in with you, cheat code is like play the Jonas Brothers.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Or Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
It works 10 out of 10 times. It's way better than playing some like ghetto ass like
I'm a
YG
big
rap.
Swiftie and a Belieber.
Are you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Big.
I like that. I like that a lot. What's your favorite Bieber song? Bieber
Peaches.
song. Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. All right.
It was because I have a song for like every era of kind of the year.
Okay.
So like there's a moment in every year that I really remember.
Cool.
And I think it was 2021, right, when that came out.
Yeah,
Give or take 2
yeah.
years.
Yeah,
2
About that,
years,
2021,
3
yeah.
years.
Really big transitioning. Like I moved to LA around that time, and like
Okay.
we got the app going, and like it was such a song that made me really happy, and I played every day when I start the day.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is my song of the year.
That's cool. That's cool. I love like associating like songs with memories. So whenever I take a new girl out, and again, this makes me sound like a serial dater. I'm not a serial dater, but like I will have a certain song that I play for that person, or like we kind of like find along the way. And I always let them know. I'm always like, hey, like I have a song that I like to associate with like this moment, so that like when I play the song, like I remember
Oh, nice.
that, which is like kind of cool. So
Yeah.
like I could flip
to
through
use
my
that.
Spotify, and like whenever I hear something, I'm like, oh my God, this is when I took so and so to here and did this, and yeah.
I love that.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a good move.
Wow.
2 more. What is your biggest fear in life?
Not living to my true potential.
Okay.
Is that like kind of lame to say?
No, that or snakes would be good. Yeah.
That or snakes?
Whatever.
Just like
whatever.
regretting not doing enough.
Sure.
You
That's
know,
the
like,
biggest one. The
letting
fear of
people
not
kinda, like-
doing. I think
yeah.
is, yeah,
Letting people like hinder your life, your time here on earth, I guess.
for sure.
Yeah.
And then what does love mean to you?
Sacrifice. Yeah. Just like sacrifice and why am I blanking on the word? When you guys compromise.
Mm.
Does that kind of go hand in hand? In a
Yeah,
way?
definitely.
Sure.
I
Yeah,
think-
sacrifice and compromise.
Yeah, we talk like we've had so many sex therapists and relationship therapists, and it's like those are 2
Really?
key words that get thrown
Yeah.
around a lot.
Yeah, I feel like just after the kind of physical attraction after X amount of years, you know, obviously people want more. I feel like just sticking through it and like knowing like this is like your person, and
Yeah.
kind of like seeing like the beauty besides the or like outside of the exterior.
Yeah,
It's
and I would say
kinda
like
like-
communication gets thrown in with that
Okay,
that realm.
that's good.
I saw a really interesting clip today. Do you know Brene Brown?
No.
You brought
Yeah, she's
Brene
written a couple
Brown.
good books. She's like a sociologist and an author, but saw a clip of her on Tim Ferriss's podcast, and she was talking about, I think, like basically, I don't know if it's every day, but like when her and her husband get home, right, from work or whatever, from their days,
I saw this TikTok.
yeah, they basically,
It was a TikTok, right?
I think I saw it on Instagram, but
Okay,
same,
okay.
yeah. And what I say, Instagrams are like usually week-old TikToks, basically.
Same thing. Yeah.
So
Potatoes,
basically, and you can correct me if I'm wrong or fill in the blanks, but essentially, when they get home from their day, they'll tell each other what like percent they're at out of
Saw that,
100. Like I
yeah.
have 20% to give you today.
Oh wow.
And
That's
then
easy.
so the other person has to pick up the other 80%, or if they're like, oh, I only have 5% because like I think his guy's father was dying or something. So they have to they actually put a quantifiable number on it, so then they can kind of see where each other are at on a daily basis, and then figure out how to like bridge the gap and make it work between the two of them, which I think is really interesting.
Yeah, I did
I've
see
used
that.
And
That's
she's
super
like, you know,
cool.
she studies relationships like crazy, and so like for her to do that and actually make it like a daily practice,
Yeah.
you know, for a lot of my life, it's like, you know, you kind of think relationships are like, or I did, you know, not that you wing it, but it's like, oh, it's love and it's this, but it's like, no, sometimes you actually have to like put like these real things into practice every single day. Yeah. So that was an interesting one.
And what happens if it's 20 and 20?
Right.
How do you get to 100?
Yeah. You just gotta, I don't know.
Sacrifice.
Yeah, exactly.
get a
Compromise.
Yeah, compromise.
And then
That's
Joe's got his favorite question to ask it.
Oh,
you
boy.
could have one law in the world, any law, as crazy as you want it to be.
it. Okay.
What law would it be and why?
Oh, I like that question.
I stole it from Jay Shetty.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, Jay Shetty, I hope that you're happy with my answer. Any law in the world, what would
Steve
it be?
goes more the comical route, and I usually go the deep.
I go
route.
practical.
I'm more of a deeper guy. Yeah, I'm more of a deeper guy. Yeah, I guess your comedy side would be like you have to have a like nap time between like.
Well, I'm a
Yeah,
big
that-
siesta guy. Love the siesta.
Yeah,
That's a line
exactly.
of kind of he does like Starbucks things, lines in Starbucks.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be right.
Lines in
Shouldn't be allowed.
Starbucks. If you could have any law in the world, what would it be?
And it could be crazy.
I just, it's tough because I wish I had more time. It would be something as simple as, I wish that there couldn't be like, well, that's freedom of speech. I just wish there was
Yeah, but-
something
but
where
you could-
people like didn't have to always like voice like a negative opinion on somebody, because I feel like it just stops a lot of people from going after what they want, you know? And that's so lame to say, but like something along the lines of like, that's yeah.
No, I think what you're saying actually
speech,
is a great answer. And
I just see how it affects people. I see the behind the scenes. You know, I'm friends with like a lot of people, like obviously in the industry, and like I'm not trying to make myself sound like fucking cool or whatever, but I now see how it affects people and what they put online, because it's, oh, well, I can't do that, otherwise I'm going to get this, or if I do that, then people are going to perceive it this way, or so. Yeah, I don't know. It would have to be something along the lines of like just hate comments, because it just stops a lot of people from like going for their fucking like.
Yeah.
I
don't know
think,
though. Something along
That's
that.
a good one.
Honestly, I think that's a great response. And I know you're not fully backing it, but I'm supporting it. We always talk about this, especially when we first started doing this, right? We kind of cared how people viewed or judged us, right? We're like, oh, like we're going to start talking on Instagram, or we're going to start like talk about dating.
Yeah.
Like, how are our friends back home going to view us, right? And we actually cared, right? And now at this stage, that's probably not even a thought. It's not a thought in my mind. I'm sure it's not even a thought in his mind. And I'm a big Arnold Schwarzenegger fan. Yeah. And he has his 6 rules. And one of his rules are avoid the naysayers. And I think as you get older in life and like you figure out what your real passion is, avoiding those people who kind of say negative things about you, whether they're close to you or not, is super important, because they're only going to be a detriment to where you essentially want to go. So I think that's kind of what you're saying, is to like avoid all those negative comments out of your life, because it's going to be no help to where you want to go.
Totally.
Yeah. So it's a big thing for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And I completely agree. Not saying I don't like stand with what I say. I just think there's like other good ones that I can give.
No,
but
I thought it was great.
for the time being, that's kind of like where I'm at. And yeah, man, at the end of the day, like everyone has something to say. You saw it. Like everybody has some fucking stupid thing to say, and it pisses me off. But because I see like how many people are like, oh, you shouldn't do that, or you shouldn't do that. Like I started my podcast, a month ago? And I was like, oh man, this is gonna be so like, people are gonna call me cringe. People are gonna call me this, that. And I was like, fuck it. I just like threw it out. And like, dude, I started having kids from high school be like, bro, I love your podcast. This is so sick. And I was like, no way.
Nice, yeah.
It was like the complete opposite reaction of like what I thought I would be receiving, you know? And so far I haven't had one person like say anything bad. And now that I'm having like good feedback, it like only drives you to like push it even more, you know? But I'm sure I wouldn't have the same response right now if people started shitting on it and I was like, they're like, take this down, this thing fucking sucks, or like,
I mean, we see a lot of hateful comments. You know, obviously we throw up a lot of ads and stuff, and you know, it's dating apps get bad reviews all the time, whether you're Hinge, Bumble, Tinder, you're gonna get a bad review. But you just block it out and you keep going. And I would say, like, me personally, I keep reiterating this with you, but your messaging and like what you're preaching, I think you're on the path of like super success. So
cool, I
would say
appreciate
true to that, and like you're just going to keep growing that following of people that support you. And those naysayers are just, you know, let them be.
Yeah, they come and go.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do.
And they probably feel a certain type of way about themselves, the fact that they're saying negative stuff about you. So it's like, that's what I always like to do, is like, if someone says something negative at me or the app, it's like, okay, it's probably something that they're dealing with. So let me just ignore it. Yeah. And if they need help, I'll help them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, yeah, please plug the podcast, plug yourself. Where can people find you? Where can they find the pod?
Oh, Brad Pitt at BRADPITT. No, Troy Osterberg, just across the, dude, you don't have to look at me. I'm just here to have a good time. So,
and help people.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope that someone like got a little something out of this. That'd be nice. Yeah. Yeah.
We loved it.
Yeah.
Thank you, Troy.
Troy, thank you so much, man.
Dude,
this was great.
Thank you guys.
Appreciate
I had a great time. Yeah. Honestly. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for watching. In the meantime, check out one of our past episodes.